Kit 10. I'm going to do a tuning session. Well, I'm going to do two types of tuning session, a basic one and then a more advanced one. But I think we have a mix of Nancy Greeners, U10ers, U12ers here. I'm going to bring some of my athletes down here too. But based on watching your kids ski, all your kids would benefit from Kit 1. Is probably the way they ski every 3 to 4 days. Like for the Nancy Greeners, every 2 to 3 weekends should be sharpening your skis. For the U10s, U12s, almost every 2 training days. That's almost every weekend. So Kit 1 to me is a soft stone, a hard stone, and a file, which you don't buy at Canadian Tire, you buy in a ski shop. It's actually a special file, a chrome file. It's a harder file, it lasts longer. One file lasts, if you're only tuning if it's Nancy Green, if you're tuning, it'll probably last you 5 years. U10, U12 will probably last you 2 years. But I mean, it'll last a while. So, and a file guide. So, I'll show you.
That's yours?
Yeah, that's mine, yeah, thanks. So first things first, so Kit 1, so this you can almost buy at every ski store, but it's a little bit confusing because it comes in many colors and many degrees. So what I'll explain is, right now, the basics for, so if someone asks me in this tuning session, it's all about, will waxing make a difference? So we're going to do the basic tuning session first, which is all about sharpening. If you have a choice between your glass of red wine Friday night and waxing, and a glass of red wine and sharpening, pick number 2. Number 1 will make less of a difference. Number 2 will make a huge difference. A glass of wine for you, and the sharpening for your kids. So if this is a tradition, this is a ski. We're looking, I'm going to draw it. Okay, so this is the view of the ski. If we cut it right here, right in half, cross section. All right. So if you look at the side of every ski. To every side of every ski, you have your edge. And your edge actually goes into it's a thin layer of base, and the edge goes into the base a little bit. So this is your edge. So everyone sees that you've got your edge.
We got some in the end picture. Thank you.
And we have something here, a little step, which we call a sidewall, which is not usually your friend when you're sharpening, and I'll tell you why after. So typically when you buy a ski from the store, if you remember your math, if you have what's that angle? 90 degrees. It comes 90. And what happens is when you're skiing, and I put this on edge. So when 90 is, and this is the snow, what happens if it's 90 degrees and the ski's on a lot on edge? Is it a good, I mean, 90 if it's not on a big angle, it's still the edge is on, there's lots of edge touching the snow, right? So if we put the ski like this, see if I can draw upside down here. On a less of an angle, I still get a good edge. But at a strong angle, how much edge do I actually have in the snow? Not much. So what we do is we actually, so when I said, the first thing to understand is, when you buy one of these, they come in 90 degrees, 89 degrees, 88 degrees, 87 degrees, 86 degrees. And every time, so that's 90. So if this is the edge, now 89 is what? 1 degree less. 88, a little bit less, I'll exaggerate. 87. So you get a much finer edge. So we're actually going from 90 and going in, so when we tip it over, we actually get a stronger edge, right? So for Nancy Greeners, up to U12, 88 degrees is fine. So you're gonna buy a 2 degree or an 88 degree file guide. So, basics. I'll do the basic sharpening and then I'll do a more advanced sharpening. So you need an elastic in your kit. And for the basic tuning session, if you want to save money and buy the reduced kit, a file guide, in this, a good file is 30 bucks, good file guide, 30, 40 bucks, and a hard stone you can buy Canadian Tire for $5, and then a soft stone. This one I could cut it up into 6 pieces and sell each for $5, because this would last me my whole lifetime. And it comes in double the size, so I cut it in half with a hacksaw. So a soft stone, 10 bucks. So that would be your basic kit. The challenge with the basic kit is we're only, when we say we're going to actually sharpen the edges, how many edges do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you really have 8, because there's an edge on the flat side. You have an edge here on this side, and then the edge on the flat side. Your basic kit is only sharpening, where's my marker? We're only sharpening one side. This one here. So how do I make sure the bottom is sharp or flat or good? You guys probably ski 30, 40 days a year. Most people here ski 30, 40 days a year, 10 weekends, two days a weekend, 20 weekends. If your ski looks like this, it's time to take them into the shop and go through the machine, and that's a $50 job. Once a year, you do a $50 job, they'll fix your bases, they'll flatten your ski, and they'll actually ask you, how many degrees do you want on the bottom? What? We talked about the degrees on the side, but how many degrees do you want on the bottom? It goes the opposite way. So this is 0 degrees, 0.5, 0.7, 1 degree. So it actually goes like this. And why is, if the more you're at 0, your ski feels very, what we call raily. It's hard to start to turn. It's very aggressive and grabby. It's very grabby. At 0.5, less grabby. 0.7, way less grabby, but can still be sharp. So for you guys, for the kids, 0.7 and 88 degrees. So 2 degrees here, oops, 2 degrees here, 2 degrees, and 0.7 for the bottom. And I'll show you.
Sorry, can you stop, do it again, but left-handed, because I can't see through your back very well.
Okay,
so,
sorry.
Can you show me?
So for the base bevel,
right.
on all the Nancy Greens, anyone U12, GS, U10, GS, 0.7 base bevel, which means that the edges are not touching the snow, they're a little bit up from the snow, which allows the ski to initiate easier. If the skis are flat, if the edges are at 0 degrees, it gets very grippy and very hard, and the kids, they don't have the strength for the skis to be that grabby. So basic kit, 100 bucks, I guess, roughly. So a file guide, soft stone, and a hard stone. And 50 bucks a year per set of skis to get them through the machine once a year, to clean out the bases, grind the bases, flatten the bases so they're even, and then you never have to do the flats. And then if you want to save the 50 bucks, then you buy another 50 bucks of tools, and then the advanced one I'll show you how to sharpen the flat file. So let's just do the basic kit for now. So first thing, for me the basic kit always has a hard stone in it, because the first thing I do is I check, whoa, hit a rock. Okay, so if you come here and you actually feel, if you come here, I mean there is along the edge is the smoothest edge is the sharpest edge, just like a razor blade. When you hit a rock, you actually, the edge actually gets all,
Good burr.
you get a burr.
Yeah.
And this actually helps deburr. So right here, what is it right here? We actually have a pretty big burr. And if you listen, first I do it flat. I can actually, now I'm getting rid of the burr. Almost no burr left now. Let's get it. Do it on the side. Okay, now the burr's gone. Still a couple of minor ones here. Pretty good. So hard stone is to deburr. A soft stone is to detune, and we'll show you what to do. So this is always good because 9 out of 10 times your kids do hit rocks, and it helps. So hard stone, soft stone. All right, we're lucky enough. So part of kit 1 is you can do your ski on the ground in your basement on your knees, but a set of vices is a good investment. This is a pretty rudimentary set of vices, but rudimentary is better than none. All right. So basic kit. So there's 2 types of kits. This is the normal set. You get a file, you get a file guide, and you get a clamp. I always use 2 clamps because if the file moves, what happens to your angle?
It changes.
It gets ugly. And we want a perfect angle. How many degrees, Mia, do we want?
88.
88. All right, so that's like 2 degrees, right? And we don't want it to go 88, 89, 87, 88, or 91, 88, right? And I'm old enough that this is how I used to tune. 90, and your fingernail is where your guide. And I still can tune like that, but what happened was after a while you'd wear off your nails, then you would cut your hand, and then you would do a whole bunch of stuff. Every year I forget something. There is a glove you can buy. You can get in my Canadian Tire, I saw them recently, Kevlar gloves, a tight Kevlar glove, so that if you do slip, you know, the most common ski sharpening injury is like cutting a bagel. You know, those people who cut bagels and they cut themselves right in the meat of the hand. It's the same. You go to the emergency room, they're like, bagel? And you say, no. Oh, skier. Okay. So they actually know. So it's good to use a glove, but I've been tuning for a while. I don't use a glove, but now I do because I bought something else we'll show you later. So basic kit number 1 comes with 1 clamp. In the entire year, you'll go buy a 2nd clamp. Or you can upgrade. Remember I said this was 30 bucks and 30 bucks, 60 bucks? This is 50 bucks. And this is 20?
20, yeah, about.
20? So it comes out to about be the same, except now it doesn't move. It's stable, 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 and it's a little bit quicker, a little less cumbersome, and there's actually a place to hold your finger and try. So, kit number 1. So rule number 1 is the hardest part is, so this has a smooth side and a not smooth side, so smooth side against the base, and you always sharpen with the base facing away from you, because you want to always use the same movement all the time. So now if I switch edges, see the tip is there, what happens when I switch to the other edge? Where am I going to start now? In the old days, they said, oh, you always have to go tip to tail. It was really important. No difference. It's to keep that same identical motion each side. So, file guide, smooth side, rough side. Smooth side goes here. And the file, there's multiple ways to put it, but there's only one way to put it. That you'll see if you use your finger and you run up. The ladies who do their nails know that one side, one side is actually, if I go this way, I can slide it. This way I can't. So that's where the teeth, so you always want the teeth, when you pull it, to sharpen. So teeth, I mean, I don't know how to explain it here. Used to be that when I had it on the other side, tail to tail. But basically, put the cutting edge down, and you'll see that I put the file in a little bit of an angle. And the reason I put the file in a little bit of an angle is your skis come like this, right? The tail is wider, it's narrower and wider. So if I had a small block of wood, if this was a block of wood and I had a file and I laid the file across like this and I started to sharpen, what would happen to this concave? It would get less. If I now only took a file and laid it on an angle and only ran it along the concave, I would keep that same angle of concave. So it's, if I were to put this file flat now, straight on this file guide, it's touching everywhere, which kind of eats the side cut of the ski. So always on an angle, and plus the teeth bite better when it's on a small angle. So always have two. Now Mia, I'm gonna show you, you're gonna test. So when you have, we check for burrs. First thing we check for burrs. And now we start light, long strokes. And your hand always supports the ski so you can move it along. And as you see, I'm getting these fine file shavings. So if you're in your basement, I would lay down a tarp because after a while it does. And why do I wear? So second thing is, cheapest part of the equipment is you clean off the edge so you don't get all those filings when you go for your second pass. So a lot of people stand in one place and try to sharpen far away. File should be pretty close to you, support it, and look at my feet. Even in ski boots, what are my feet always doing? Feet are always moving. So alrighty, so what degrees do you do your skis at?
88.
You do it at 88? Ask your boys, 'cause I think you do it at 87. Because
87. Your
it's
eye is better
87?
than mine. 87. Whatever they tune for racing, you 18.
I know, because I just, so
They tune the same way.
I'm looking at his edge. If I'm looking at his edge, right now, half of it is shiny, and the other half is not.
So 87.
So I know I'm on the wrong. So now I'll take an 87. So first things first is, and what I normally do is, so what is your flat? Do you know what your flat is? So normally I
I
write
want to say 0.5.
at the bottom of my ski,
Yeah.
88, and then I write what it is.
Yeah.
So if they go to the store and they don't know or you forget to tell them, it's there. And then if somebody else tunes your skis, it's there.
Yeah.
So that way it's always good. So I always write, because remember I said this was good for U10, Nancy Green, U12, no problem. But when you get up to the older ages, you start going 0.5, 87 for slalom, sometimes 0.3, 0.86 for Super G. So it really depends. Actually, it goes the other way for Super G, 0.7. So it changes by discipline on how you want the ski to react. Basics, 0.7 makes the ski turn easier, initiate easier, makes it easier to roll, not so grabby. And 88 just allows you. But the problem with going more angle than 88 when the kids are young is, one, if they hit a rock, the angle's so acute that it takes a while to get sharp again because the angle's so acute. So when I say acute, it means that if this is 90 and I've taken off some from the bottom and some from the side, it's very sharp. So, what did I say? Stay close to the file, support it with your hand. Do we have to muscle it? Light stroke forward, it's not even touching. And at the beginning you can even lift it off and just pull towards you. And then we brush it off and you see there's like tons of file dust here. I've barely done anything. Wipe it off. So, Mia, $1,000 skis. Come over here. No pressure. And then I'm gonna pick a mom. Okay, so grab this. So one, I'm gonna see if you listen. Okay, so put this on here. So this one actually has an arrow to show you which way it's supposed to go. That's easy. So the arrow goes that way. So why are you putting on an angle?
So it doesn't lose the.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it doesn't eat the side cut. It's probably easier to say. Okay, good. Put it on there. Yeah. Tighten it. Good. You tighten it pretty hard. Okay. Good. Now, which side goes where? No, always shiny side goes on your base. Okay, now you're going to stand this way. Find the trigger here. Hold it with one hand. Okay, and remember, what do? We support. Okay, now just do light stroke. Yeah, light. Okay. Okay. When you pull, it can be a little bit harder. Okay, not bad. One is it is a little bit wobbly sometimes. So it's important that you get used to the pretty firm, like, so it'll wobble like this and sometimes you'll slip and that's where you cut yourself. But here, Mia, I would say just when you pull, push just a little bit harder. So try it again. But your technique was good. Your feet were moving all the time. Again. Yeah, just see how wobbly it could be. So make sure it's pretty firm. Now pull. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, who laughed? So you can come back. Come over here. Okay. Okay, it's good. That's good. And okay, so Mia stopped right here. You've got to go all the way as far as you can on the tip. All right. We brush it off. I'll do the brushing. Okay, Mia, good. Okay, we'll do the test again. How we put the file on. Now spin this around a little here. Charlie, you're next, eh? Yeah. And tell me where it's the sharpest and where it's the dullest. So somebody come up and so. Okay. Where's it dull? It's very dull. So okay, it's so which sometimes it's duller back here after you sharpen. Who do we have on our team? No, that whole problem with keeping the edge even is I have to start and go until it's it's sharp here. But good technique, you actually had, good strength, and I'll just. Okay, so basics to tuning. So now we're lit up. Now there's only about this much dull. This is sharp, sharp here, dull here, sharp here. So now we shrunk by doing it once. So generally, if you tune every, and that's where I did the, so remember there was a burr
Yeah.
earlier? Where there's a burr, when metal gets struck hard, very fast, it gets harder. So that's why having a stone helps soften it up again, because you could actually hear it when I get to the burr. Like it's not going to be sharp here, because I can even, I can see this. Like if I look at the edge, I can see the burr. It's about 1 inch long, and of course, it's always at the most important part of the ski. Having a burr here is not so bad. Having a burr under the foot. So let me see if I can. So even one shot of a diamond stone, and I can, the burr is coming out. So now we have a hard stone. What's the hardest rock?
Diamond.
A diamond. So a diamond stone is great for polishing, for finishing. That's in kit 10, because there's like 10 stages to get to kit 10. Basic kit, file, sharpen the edges. Why don't we sharpen the bottom? Because you're gonna get your skis put across the machine once a year at Tommy and Fave, or Tommy and Fave, Sporting Life, Kunstad, Leonardo's, wherever. And generally I would do it at the beginning of the year, not the end of the year, because then you're going to give your wonderfully nice new skis to, you're selling them the next year probably. And I wouldn't do them the day before a race. A lot of people do that because it actually really changes how the ski feels and is. So I would do it at the beginning of the year, like if you buy a used pair of skis, first thing you do, put them in a belt, and then you finish them by hand. And the stores will ask you, because their machine by default does everything at once. It does the side edges and does flat by once. So it goes through computerized, goes through one, and then also takes off some base. So they'll ask you what you would like. And if they don't, you tell them, or it's written on the back of your ski now, you put it. So, Charlie, come over here, see if you got the, because we still need a little bit more to get this sharper here, but part of that is that burr. Okay, oh, you gotta do that. So that's the basic tune. So usually you have two types of files. This is a coarse and a fine, like in a more. And if you're starting with the kid skis that haven't been done in 4 years, you start with the coarse file because your fine file is the finer, the smoother it is. But coarse is good to get off a lot of edge. And generally, if you haven't had skis tuned in a while, the edge actually rounds a little. So you've got to take off some edge to get it again. So again, why do I have two of these? They almost look identical. One's coarse, one's fine. Okay. That way, yeah, that way.
And Vern, just for clarity, coarse would be the number?
Yeah, there's a number of teeth per centimeter. So if there's 9 teeth per centimeters or 12 teeth per centimeters, 12 teeth is fine and 9 teeth is less. And it usually says it on the package or when you order it. All right, 1,000 times. Okay, so what's the first thing you do? What side goes where? And this is the age that U12, even U10, okay? Shiny side goes against the base. All right. So, okay.
Put your finger on the trigger.
Yeah, finger on the trigger, and you got to support by the edge. Yeah, go. Yeah, good. Okay, a little bit like me at first. At least they're good. Keep going. Oh, there we go. Hold it there. Yeah. Good. And I think it's good when you start to exaggerate like Charlie, where you do a stroke and you lift it, and then you do a stroke and you overlap and you lift it and you do a stroke. Obviously, I've been doing it a little time, and you barely see that I lift it when I go, but I do lift it, right? So it's one more stroke, we'll see. And the trick is to keep your feet moving and support it, so you're good. Go. You get it. Shiny side goes on the base. Shiny, 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 shiny. So this is what we're sharpening, that edge. The edge has to go here. And it, okay, now you gotta hold your finger here. See right there? Got a good firm, so now she's got, 4 fingers on there, a thumb on the top, that's good. Yeah, good. And when you pull, yeah, there you go, you got a little more grip. You can push down a little, yeah. There you go. And so when you have new files, they're sharpened. Even when we sharpen with a file, microscopically, the edge is it's still buried. So sometimes it feels sharp because the edge is still very buried. So with the diamond stone, and this is really good to start off with kids, is, so if I had this ski, I would actually probably do 2 or 3 passes more with the file, and then I'd do the diamond stone. And then I could actually sharpen with the diamond stone. If I did 1 diamond stone, watch this. Same, make sure it's 3 degrees, right? 87 degrees. Okay? Is you polish the edge. So now we're polishing the edge, and you can actually use special polishing oil to even polish it more. Or you can use some water to help polish it. And now I'm removing all, it's getting smoother. Now hear this. Barely any noise here. I can hear the tick, 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 tick. There's some tick on the tail. Finish and polish. So right now,
if you're going to get 1 file for basic kit, what sort of courses would you get?
you can get because even these come in fine. It's fine, like a fine.